Maybe let's do it together now. Like, so we'll count like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then with 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay?
Yep.
So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay.
Love it.
And now we're gonna dance. Yeah.
It's so funny. Like a quick story. You've met Helen, right?
Yes.
So I did a breathwork session with her months ago, and like part of it was like making me dance, and I hate to dance. And then I don't know if you've seen her, Joel, Maria Paula, and Frank started this community called Built Different. And I joined their first call, and on that first call, they were like saying "made me dance." I'm like, God,
Yeah.
getting me out of my comfort zone.
Yeah, and like I've developed this sacred flow method, I've called it, and it's this practice to embody my vision. And it's with breath work, it's with affirmations, it's with visualizations, and with letting go with presence, right? And I set up like a cloud project, and I gave it instructions. So basically it's helping me create my life's vision based on what I'm sharing, like real time. So it's like a living document, and it updates it as something new emerges from my vision. And then I say, for example, before working, can you give me a sacred flow method before working? And it will give me breath work, affirmations, visualizations, and letting go or presence based on this moment. Like, I want to get to work. So the affirmation will be, I am divine presence channeled through my work, and all these things. So it's so beautiful how my vision is getting clearer without effort. And then I have this method there, which I can say, give me a sacred flow method for this. And I don't need to think what I'm going to say. I don't need to think about the visualizations, because it gives me everything from my vision.
Yeah, well.
And why am I saying all this is because with the breath work, there is this breath work activation through hyperventilation. And what I found myself naturally is dancing, So sometimes I feel like I'm a bit scattered. I feel there's some tension. I do the breath work, but then I get inspired by the music. I do it with music, and then it's like, fuck it. And I start to go wild, like wild breathing like crazy. And it's just, movement. It's so powerful,
Oh, it sounds amazing.
Yeah.
I love the name on it as well. Right? It sounds so connected, but it sounds so you. And I can just imagine, right, like something like this, you're building to benefit, and not benefit, but to use for yourself. But again, the power to be able to share tools like this is, to me, feels so part of you and so part of your brand and what you can create in a way that just not everybody has that, because it's you, right? And I the way it comes together makes me excited, not only for you, but I'm in my mind, I'm like, oh, I could use that and share with my clients, right? Like, how cool would that be to start a session, right, with my clients to do some sort of visualization, breath work, affirmation, meditation, whatever it is, just to get us grounded for a couple of minutes right before the call.
Yeah. And like, why I love it, it's, and I just shared a video about this. I've been reading Conversations with God.
Oh, yeah.
You've read the book?
I've read the first one, but I haven't reread it.
Yeah. So there is a moment, Neil Donald Walsh, the author, asks God, like, what does it take for my life to take off? And God answers something like, basically, think who you want to be, what you want to, yes, like it's,
Nice.
Yeah, and it says, like, think who you want to be, what you want to have, what you want to do, and then think nothing else. Like, just get very clear on your vision.
Yeah.
And then just don't think anything else that doesn't match it, right? But I always got, when I wanted to visualize in my spiritual practice, I felt it was overwhelming. It's like, okay, which part of my vision am I going to visualize now?
Yeah.
and then thinking about it, it's just too much work, you know. But now, like, my vision is getting clearer, like kind of automatically thanks to AI. And then I have this sacred flow method that combines all these practices that they build on top of each other. And I don't need to think about it. It's just like, I need a sacred flow of 10 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour, depends how much time I have, about this. And it's like, and I just need to say it. I just need to breathe. I just need to imagine. I just need to feel the tension and let it go. It's a huge breakthrough for me. Yeah.
It sounds like I can feel it just in the way you talk about it, right? It just there's an excitement, there's an energy, there's presence, right? It's all of it all wrapped into this big ball of just good energy.
Yeah. So yeah, your dancing comment and the joke we started led to this path. How are you, my friend?
Yeah, I'm good. My niece was here last week. She was in town, so it was really good to connect with her. And like we've been in each other's lives for 30-ish years, but we've never had as much time. Like even though her husband was there and my family was around, we've never had that like intimate time where it was really just us. So it's really cool to open up and share and hear what she's gone through, hear what I've gone through, and there's a lot of similarities in our story. So that was cool. And then, I got a text from an old friend during that same weekend. It was like, I'm gonna read it just so I don't mess it up. Not mess it up, but just because there's power in it and it'll lead me into where I'm going to go. Yeah, I would like your help to rebuild my life again. And I read the text and I'm like, wow. And immediately I was like, all right, what do I need to do to like create this and like make it perfect and all this? And I got really into my head, but then I let it go. And he came over, what's today? Wednesday? No, Thursday. He came over Tuesday. We walked for 3 hours and talked and just, shared and connected, and ultimately ended up signing him as a client. Biggest client yet in terms of upfront payment. He paid full 3 months in advance. And it's like the biggest payment I've gotten in this business so far. And it was like, that's right. That's it. I didn't do anything, right? I didn't create the perfect post. I didn't get him through my funnel. He didn't come through a newsletter. He didn't come through, like a paid retweet viral thread. He came to me because we knew each other from our past. And I've just put that intention out there that these are the kind of clients I want to create. And it's just a simple reminder of how it can work, right? It doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to grind. It doesn't have to be anything other than as effortless and as connected to what I want to build and what you want to build and whoever's listening, what they want to build in their way, right? And it was so reassuring, I think is the word that kind of comes to mind.
Oh man, it's amazing. Oh, it's beautiful to see how it's like I there was an unlocking in your path, and now it's just like effortless, and it's happening, and it's how we ended our last podcast last time. Like we met so long ago, like a year and a half ago or something like that, and us sharing the struggles of beginning in this path and the confusion and dealing with our emotions, and now in this case hearing you and seeing you like this, it's really amazing.
Yeah, and it's it's just a reminder, right? I thought back to this time last year, and there was just like so much confusion, so much frustration, but I was starting to let go, right? And I was starting to surrender. And I think to me it's a reminder that there's divine timing at play, and not even a woo-woo spiritual, like whatever way you want to look at it, right? We're we're trained, we're conditioned to expect things instantly, right? And that's part of my story. I'm very impatient. I want the results, and right, especially when I feel it from that place of alignment. And that's what was getting so frustrating. Is like, I've done the work, I've showed up, I've, healed, not healed completely, but I was, like I found my blueprint, I was healing my trauma, I was, showing up on X every day and, getting amazing impressions and stats and all of it. But it's like, it just, right, it wasn't happening yet. And it's just, there's such a bigger timing at play that we miss, right? And it's just sitting in that frustration and that patience and knowing that it's working out. We just can't see behind the curtain. And if we could see behind the curtain, it's like our wildest dreams are behind the curtain, being played out, but not being played out to the way our ego wants it to. So to me, this is just a huge fucking reminder of just surrender and let go, right? And I think there's a lot we can dig into what that means, but I think to me, like, that was just, it was such a big reminder of that.
Yeah. And I can help listening to you just makes me also reflect on my journey. And I think this could be very, I don't know the word, like valuable for somebody that's maybe just starting in their journey. Is like, and I'm sure you're going to resonate with this. Like when we want to start this, we start, of course, following advice from other people. We don't know what we are doing. And even if we have a good mentor or we bought a good course, or whatever, and then we can see the blueprint, we can make sense of the online business thing, we can understand the parts and all that. Everything is so subtle. And our energy is like no one else's, or like the way we are built, you are you, I am me, we don't work like other people, right? Even though we are both projectors, we have many things in common. Even we having so much in common, still we are not operating the same way, and we have different, natural talents or things we enjoy doing the most. But I just look at the last 2 years of building this and going into this adventure. You cannot force it, to your point. You cannot speed it up. It's not going to go the way you want it to go or the way you thought it's going to go. But it's just like one thing you unlock lets you see the other thing you were not seeing yet. And there is something else to unlock, something else to feel again. And somebody else you meet. In this case, we met and we had the support of each other. And we discovered stuff together. And then it's what you said, trusting the process. You cannot rush it. These things, you cannot rush them. And slowly through time and consistency, it's just, I don't know, when I look at business now, and to be fair, I don't, like, I'm making money this month and I'm getting clients this month, but to next month, I don't know what's going to happen, That's why I'm now scaling my business. I'm like doing the work to get more leads and all that. Yeah. Well, I don't know why I was saying that. I guess I was like, things are working out now. I know what I was going to say. Like, I see it very clearly. There's a lot of simplicity in my business now, because I know who I'm serving. I know my story. I know who I'm targeting, which is me in 4 different periods of my life, I have my content system kind of in place. It's like, it's a lot of clarity and simplicity, but it took 2 years of like sitting with the confusion and believing all this, despite like the frustration and the fear, the uncertainty, It's like, yeah, this is the path. That's also the price of, it feels like there is this freedom of like you being able to make money pursuing your calling, but it takes the pain and daring to face the pain and of like confronting everything and sticking to this despite the doubts and uncertainty. And man, I'm so proud of you. Like you've went through that, and it's like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. And as you said, we connected for a reason, and we're similar in so many ways and different in so many ways. But I think we're so aligned in what we've gone through to get to where we are. And I had a conversation earlier this week as well that just, and again, just reinforce it. So I love again the synchronicity, the coincidence, whatever you want to call it, of just how the conversations that I keep having keeps keep coming back to similar things that like I'm going through. So again, right, we're matching that frequency with the others that are around us. But it was, like somebody was wanting to create something, and 18 months later he was able to create it. And it wasn't because he didn't have the skill or didn't have the knowledge or didn't have the willpower or any of that. It was just the person he needed to become wasn't ready to do it 18 months ago, right? There was layers of pain and layers of experience and layers of just awareness that hadn't happened yet to allow him to just sit down and create it. And he's like, I just sat down. It just came to me. I just sat down and it was effortless, and it just flowed through me. And it's something I'd been thinking about for 18 months. And again, he drew the parallel to, he wasn't the person who could create it 18 months ago. And that I see that in both of us. Like 2 years ago, we both knew at our core, this was it. This is how we wanted to show up. This is the kind of business that we wanted to create, even to a little degree, like how we ultimately wanted to do it, but we weren't ready. And it's back to like that timing point. The reason we weren't ready is there was still stuff we had to go through to be that version of ourselves on that timeline that was ready to receive it and ready to ultimately to give it, to get it back. And it's such a twist, right? Because again, of that conditioning, and I go back to what I said earlier, is like there's that expectation that once we want something or desire something, that it's supposed to be now, right? And it's okay to have those desires. It's okay to have those wants. But the timing is where where we get so twisted in our thinking, because again, when we don't get it, we think something's wrong, and then we want to pivot, or then we want to go do something else, or then we want to try something else. And all that is part of it, right? But it's ultimately about who we're becoming, right? We're becoming now. We are the guys 2 years ago that were ready to take that. And, this time next year, we're going to be two completely different guys who are ready to take on more or something different or whatever it looks like, right? And I don't even know how to wrap the point up, but I think you get what I'm saying. It's just, again, something that keeps coming back that's just so prevalent right now.
Yeah, I'm just gonna charge my phone because otherwise, I have battery still, but I don't wanna, just wanna, think it's working. Give me 1 moment. Wait, we can anyway cut this if we need to. It's charging, yeah.
Sweet.
You still see me well?
Yeah, there you go. I was going to say,
No?
flip your phone. Yeah. There, now you're good.
Thank you. Yeah, and this comes up, a question I would love to ask you, especially for the people that are watching this. If you would, and I know there are many things we could talk endlessly about this, but what is the one thing that, looking back, help you unlock your business the most? If there is one thing, and you don't be limited by that. If you want to add something else, it's fine, just to give direction to the conversation. I ask you one question, so just feel free to share.
Yeah, it's good because it triggers something. It's never just one thing, and it's something that I'm going to give you a long answer because I think it's relevant for my story, and I think for other people out there, because, right, especially when you go into the online world, find your niche, find your ICP, be specific, talk to one person, right? But that never resonated with me because I suffered through a lot of different, right? Like anxiety, depression, brain fog, low energy, lack of purpose, feeling like a failure, low self-esteem, like lack of confidence, all that. So I could talk about all those things, and I like to talk about all those things, but it was never just one thing. And the same with what healed me. It wasn't just breath work. It wasn't just meditation. It wasn't just eating healthy. It wasn't just working out. It wasn't just walking. It wasn't just reading, right? It was all these things. And I brought this up to my client yesterday. It's like, think of all these things as a menu, right? You're at your favorite restaurant, and you've got your like 3 to 5 favorite dishes. You just continue to pick from those, and one day you might feel like eating sushi. The next day you might feel like eating pad thai. The next day you might feel like eating something else. But again, it's consistently choosing those same dishes and coming back to them in a way that feels right, that is ultimately going to make the difference, because it's never going to be one thing. So to say all that, if I could wrap it up in one thing that's, I think, kind of encompasses all of it, it's the inner work. And the inner work is more than one thing, but the inner work is the inner work, right? And we've been conditioned to reach here, there, and everywhere to grab something from the outside to fill that void in the inside. But nothing outside of us can never fill the void that's inside of us. We've always got to turn our attention inward. And what that looks like is different from you, and it's different for me. It's different for every successful entrepreneur, creator, business person out there, right? It looks very different. But the thing that's similar is you have to go inward. Everything that you desire, everything that is wrong, stuck, you feel fit, you want to fix, it feels broken. It's all an inner thing. But we've just been conditioned to cast our net very wide outside of us, to bring it all in, to get all those experiences, the money, the followers, the house, the car, the status, everything. That will make me feel good inside. But no, it won't, because the only thing that can make you feel good inside is already inside of you. But you just have to be willing to go explore inside instead of outside. So a long answer, but yeah, inner work would be the would be the one thing. But again, context that it's not just one thing doing the inner work.
And I have one question, like, who is your, I just got curious by you sharing this. Do you have now like an ideal client you talk to? Who are you talking to when you write content?
Me. Yeah. Me and what resonates with me. And when I say that, it sounds selfish to say it out loud. And it probably goes against all the guru's advice. But if it resonates to me, it's going to resonate to somebody else. And ultimately, the people that I keep attracting are people like me in some way, right? So if I talk to me, I'm talking to them. Yeah. That's the way I see it, because I still have a problem being specific. I still have a problem talking about one thing. So I talk about the things that interest me, and I talk about the things that I'm going through, and I talk about the things that I see that catch my attention. And I try to share them in a way that fits who I am right now. And that's just been how I've approached it. I've tried many different methods, but that's kind of where I'm at now.
Yeah, I love it, and it resonates. Like for me, I always knew I was talking to myself in the past, right? It's like basically you grow, and then the more you grow, the more you're able to help the past version of yourself in a way. And I'm now guiding a client, and he's like, I think I shared it, he's an artist, he's into spirituality, he wants to build a business, he lives abroad, he's married to a Taiwanese girl, he lives in Taiwan, I'm married to a Belgian girl, I live in Belgium, struggle with the same thing, it's like, he's my same age, it's like, and dealing with the problems that I had a year ago when we were connecting, at the beginning of our journey together, he's there now, and it's like, man, I'm your fucking guy. Like I can help you, because it's crazy, right? And that also showed me like, man, I can talk about art. I can talk about spirituality. I can share about business. And here I meet most similar person to me I've ever met in my life. And how it went, basically, he energetically asked me to invite him. I could feel, you know, like he was ready, and I invited him formally, but it was like, let's go, you know, and paid me the next day, and it was beautiful, and it is beautiful. We're still working together. Something that feels like sharing with you and with the audience is I've taken that a bit further, and now I have 4 versions of me that I'm talking to.
Nice.
And it's really amazing. I don't know. It's like the version of me 6 years ago that discovered presence, and it was like solving all this, like the depression or the confusion or the unconfidence, but still was like studying, and it's like, what the fuck am I gonna do with my life work-wise, you know, and feeling like spirituality is my path, but not even, you know, thinking it was possible. Then I'm targeting the version of me 4 years ago or so that decided to build an online business, but I was doing a vegan cooking course because I didn't even conceive I could do a spirituality thing. It was not, who am I to do, am I Jesus? Am I, who do I think I am? You know? Am I a crazy person for thinking I'm meant to serve spiritually? And then I'm targeting the 2 years old version of me, burned out by trying to fit myself into a niche, confused, destroyed, just became a father, realizing, man, I need to find a way that is aligned or I'm fucked.
Yeah.
You know? And then a 1 version of me, inner work is first. If I align myself, everything will happen. I am meant to serve spiritually, but signing no client, seeing no progress. You know, so it's this whole journey of like discovering spirituality as my calling and starting to see it through online business, but failing or, you know, struggling in the process. And my content now targets all of them, or just maybe one video targets specific one. But not only I'm talking to me, a past version of me, I can target different states of awareness in the journey. And that just gives me so much, it's so tangible. I'm still talking about what excites me because my problems, it was so difficult and I went through so much that I just being able to share this with other people is like, I'm so excited about it. And it's what prepared me to serve in this way. But now I have even I'm not talking to a vague version of me. I know who I'm talking to, the versions of me that I'm talking to. And that's just, it feels so right and gives me so much like clarity, you know?
Thank you for sharing it, because as you were talking, it was giving me inspiration of like, I think unconsciously I was doing that to a degree, but I think again to map it out and to have it specific, right, is a good thing to do, because again, writing it down gives that clarity, right? Getting it, because I have so many ideas, but to get them out of here and on paper, it's just like, I think that's what my content ends up being, is like, because I've never developed a deep journaling practice, but I have like a Notion page that's longer than, you know, I can show on the screen, that just me brain dumping, but it's in the context of content ideas. But I think that's what ultimately it ends up becoming. It's in all of that. If I probably look back, it's some version of those 4 things that you mentioned. So it's, yeah, I really appreciate you clarifying that, because it gives me some inspiration of, okay, like I can break that down a little bit simpler, and structure it a little bit differently, because that's also the part that gets in the way, is the flow for me isn't, it's doable, but it's not always simple. And I love that you said it earlier, is the simple word, because I think we've talked about it. I think right. I think it was a talk right before we started this, was just everything can be and is simple at its core. And when we try to make it complex, that's where the frustration and just the lack of results tends to come in. So yeah, like the simplicity in it comes from that alignment. And I think it's something that shines so much through where you are right now in this journey, is I think you've always had you've always had a clarity from when I've spoke to you, but I think again the simplicity wasn't necessarily there. And the simplicity now just shows what you've gone through and that work that you've done. And right, it speaks volumes to where you're at right now.
Thank you, my friend. Yeah, and to your going back to what you said, looking back is the inner work. It's just that emotional resistance that creates this version of us that is not ready yet, as you shared. And I realized, like, I always knew indeed, just all this pain was resisting to the simplicity, was resistant to the execution of the simplicity. And at the same time, it just, I guess it compartmentalized everything.
Yeah.
Believing there were all these things that are separate, but they are not. It's like they're one. And also, I mean, I remember when I started studying composition at the conservatory, I would share my music scores to my teachers. They will look at it and they can hear it in their heads. Like, you know, like they say, like Beethoven, I think, wrote the Ninth Symphony or something like that. I studied music and story, but I don't know. I don't remember anything. But he wrote it deaf. And it's like how he can write,
crazy.
You know, like a symphonic piece, long symphonic piece, without hearing.
Yeah.
It's like a mystery. But there is something called inner hearing. Like eventually you can just hear it in your head. And then they will read my scores like music notation and they can hear it. Oh, this will not sound good. You know, like maybe you can. And it's like fucking magic, you know? But then I studied for 5 years. And to be fair, like I don't have that kind of inner hearing because I'm not so deep into classical music and all that. But my inner hearing grew a lot. And now I can just hear stuff in my head. I can just write it down. And I can just look at the score and read it and listen to it. It took 5 years of consistency and that starts developing, right? So there is also this element of just, maybe there are these these departments of like, you know, what makes the parts of the online business, but just by going through it and experimenting and gaining experience, they start to merge naturally, right? And there's where the clarity starts happening. Yeah. Okay, we can talk about this like go so deep into it,
But I think one thing I wanted to come back to is when you were sharing and you talked about like who am I to build a spiritual business, right? Can you? I think for people that are listening to this, that word can mean so many things to so many different people. And to me, it evokes something because of, you know, a little bit of trauma I had where religion was weaponized against me. So my journey and my dance with spirituality has helped me so much, but it's very personal to me. And now you say like you want to build a spiritual business. Can you share what that really truly means to you and how it just sort of came about? Because I think that could be really powerful for some people.
Yeah, thank you. I love the question. Yeah. So I will try to make this as short as possible. I always felt I had this connection with God, or however you want to call it. You know, I remember when I was like 5 years old, I would like just pray in the nights, and I will heal people. It's like I will send my like it's so like why is this like I'm 5 years old, I'm gonna go to bed and I'm talking to God and I'm saying like, oh, tonight I'm gonna heal somebody that has an illness or something. And I mean, it just came from pure innocence. I don't know, you know, I don't believe I'm a healer. I don't want to put that limit to myself, but I'm not like I didn't heal people or anything like that, you know. It's just like the intention of it. Also, I remember I was around that age and I was playing with my friends, like with my neighbors, and I would just look at my hand and become self-aware for a moment. It's like, fuck, I exist, you know? And I was so young, and that kind of brought a lot of, it was weird
Yeah.
It's like just, it was strange. There was even a little bit of fear there, or like discover, I don't know. And then I would just keep playing. But so I always had that. And then I had this existential crisis when I was 15, and I needed answers, like, what is life meant for? Am I gonna die? Why am I alive? I'm gonna die. What's the point of everything? And it was very painful. And then I discovered conversations with God, and the answers were there, and they resonated in my heart. So just for me, spirituality was this source of peace, of relief, of love, of meaning, you know. And naturally, I just wanted to share that with people, because like I suffered so much, I want to share this with people. And then while I was like reading all these things and it felt true, I was not living them. You know, I was not living them. Even though I identified as spiritual, even though I was meditating, I was not living them. And when I was 23, and I was struggling here in Belgium studying music, I discovered the power of now. And then that was like my gateway to experiencing what I already knew in my head.
Yeah.
And it took it to another level. And again, the same. It's like, I just want to share this with people because it healed me in so many ways. So, and then naturally, through wanting to build an online business, I realized like everything that it was not spirituality just was censoring myself, because at the end, spirituality was that presence, being in the present moment, healing was the ultimate thing. Because to your point, like if nothing is going to complete you on the outside, so you better find it inside. And spirituality is basically that in a way. It's like pointing you to that. So it was kind of inevitable. And for me today, building a spiritual business, and I often like use the term conscious business to not sound too weird or whatever, but I'm also using spiritual. I don't give a fuck anymore. Also, I'm talking to Eliseo from this different, so he doesn't have a problem with the word spiritual.
Right.
You know? And for me, like spirituality is basically feel your emotions until they dissolve. So all the pain, all the blockages dissolve, and then you get access to love, joy, peace that are not really emotions. It's just the natural state of being. You've seen that with your kids. I see it with my son. When there is no mind, when there is no identification with story, when they are taken care of, they are happy, they are joyful, they are at peace.
Right.
It's like our natural state. They are not even emotions. And I think also emotions means disturbance in Latin, or I don't remember the specific, but
Oh yeah, I've read that.
It comes from disturbance. So it's like, oh, so every emotion is a disturbance of the natural state. That's already our nature, right? So basically, is as a spiritual teacher, you know, and I'm using this opportunity as saying I am that, you know, even though there's some discomfort in that. It's not this version of the beard and the long hair. Though I would love to let my hair long. I just love like the Gandalf, Dumbledore look. I don't know. I may try it just because I love it. But it's not about saying the right thing or using the right words or like this whole persona that's ultimately ego. It's just, hey, look inside, feel your emotions fully, and hey, remember your thoughts, your words and your actions create your reality. You know, who you want to be, decide it, embody it, and just let God's divine energy, the universe, just flow through you. You're just a vessel, you know. And at the same time, you are God too, because God created us in His image and likeness. And in a way, we give meaning to God because, and it's all explained in conversation with God, like God cannot experience itself without us in this relative reality. So we are here to remember who we really are and to choose who we were, how we want to remember who we are. So I got inspired, but basically spiritual business is like spiritual business or spiritual teacher. What was your question? Like what does a spiritual business look like, or something like that?
What does it mean to you?
Yeah, it's this. Look inside, feel your emotions. They're gonna dissolve if you feel them without expectations, without labels, without trying to get anything from that. And naturally, you're gonna align yourself. Naturally, your gifts are gonna be evident to you because there are no blockages anymore on your way to discovering them. And there are no blockages in you on your way of extending them to others through your business. So you're living your life, you're aligned, you're sharing what you are meant to share, you're impacting the people you're meant to impact, which is triggering their own journey in that way. And you're just serving the collective raising of consciousness of humanity just by not trying to do anything, but just sharing your adventure, healing yourself, extending what is important to you, and talking to the version of yourself that you know, that I'm targeting in a way. And like, if everyone does that, we are all different, and everyone is going to target their past version. So like, you know, everything we learn and grow and unlock becomes available to all the past versions of ourselves. And if everyone did that, like, you know, the world will be amazing. And I'm gonna finish with this. Spirituality contains everything. Like, I am gonna keep creating art, I'm gonna create movies, I'm gonna create documentaries. At least that's what I feel I'm gonna do. Let's see what happens. But I'm not giving up on music. It's just like I'm addressing the core thing. And that's why, in a way, I feel spirituality is not optional, because it just unlocks you and imbues everything you do, be it the nutrition, exercise, your approach, my approach, everyone's approach. Through spirituality, everything gets enhanced and it's more powerful. So yeah, it's just feel your shit and everything's gonna be, and you're gonna find your way, basically.
I love that.
And this is not needed, you know, like, just that's very important. Like, I love this book and it helped me understand everything intellectually, and I love to understand it. But with only the intellectual understanding, the ego just can use that to fuck it up, you know? So it is helpful, it's beautiful, but it's just feel your emotions and take the actions you feel inspired to take, or you feel they want to be done from that place, and see what happens.
It's beautiful, man. Thank you for sharing it, for just pouring your soul into that, because I felt it. And like, I wish I could show you, as you were talking, like the goosebumps that I was getting just from not only feeling your authenticity, your wholeness, your soul, your just everything, your energy that you poured out. It just reminded me of conversations that I had even as yesterday, right? And there was, it draws me back to what we were talking about. It's just how everything's so connected. Just some of the words and phrases you used, I used those in 2 conversations yesterday. One with my son about love, and about, and another one with just, you know, with the client, of just, you know, having to feel and come back to that version of yourself that has already been there, right? You're just remembering who you've always been and feeling your shit, as you so eloquently put it, is the key to it all, right? And it's like, it's as simple as that when it comes to spirituality, right? If we could tagline this: spirituality, feel your shit, and, you know, you return to wholeness, right? Like, I love it, man.
Yeah, and it's so beautiful. And I share this often. Like, one of my fears is like to be perceived as a scammer or like a manipulator or something. And like, when we mention spirituality, you know, immediately we can get like the image of fake gurus and like this whole, you know, like you can go into this world that is, you know, there's a lot of ego there too, you know, like, right. Speaking like the term spirituality, like in humanity today, you know, it can go so many ways. And just sharing that indeed the spiritual work, it's even like, and that's a crazy thing, right? Like, spiritual work sounds like non-practical. But feeling your shit isn't the most practical thing ever. It's like you just sit down, you notice what's inside of you, and you're there with it. It's like you feel it. There's nothing ethereal about it. I mean, I'm sure there are layers of reality we cannot see, and energies and frequent whatever we don't see with our eyes. At least I don't see it with my eyes, but I can feel that. And then I notice that when the emotions dissolve, layer by layer, life gets better. Things change. You know, and it's like it's just so interesting how like I feel that's true spirituality, but at the same time it doesn't, like there's something about putting the label of spiritual to that because it's so practical, you know. And I love that because it's so, it's not here or whatever, it's just like feel your shit, you know.
And it's just the word evokes so much in so many people, right? And just, you know, it's just a simple question, like what does spirituality mean to you is a big question to so many people, and it triggers so much. But it's, again, like back to the simple. It is simple at the end of the day because it's yours. It's what's inside of you. It's that connection to you, which is ultimately connection to God, spirit, the divine, the universe, whatever label you want to put on it. To me, it doesn't really matter. But it is that. It's that connection to it and you, which are the same. And really, you said it, and I love it because I'm reading a book called A Return to Love. And that's what it is. That is spirituality. It's love at the end of the day. And this is the conversation I was having with my son, because again, like he's 11, but he wants to wrap love into an emotion. He wants to wrap love into, like, you know, I love my mom, I love my dad, I love my sister. It's like, no, it's bigger than that. It's that connection to something bigger than you. And I love that you said it, right? Is there was this thing in me that was like always, I wanted to be happy, right? And like that was like the goal, because I felt unhappy for so long. But happiness is an emotion, and with that is, you know, something, a disturbance, because you're wanting something that you think you don't have. But that love, that peace, that embodiment of joy, or whatever, it's not an emotion, right? It's a state. It's a connection. It's a wholeness. It's simple, but it's so much bigger than just one little word of love. And love gets so twisted. But it just, it reminds me again, it's just all about that. Because if we are love, we're connected, and we're connected to ourselves. And then we're not going to project that, our fear, our ego, onto other people. And I want to bring this back to a question, because as you were talking about it, evoked something in me. It's like, you talked about if people would, you know, just do that, like the world would be a better place. Have you always felt back to like that thing of, you know, wanting to share and serve and help others? Have you always felt this calling inside of you that you were meant to serve and help multiple, who knows how many people?
Yeah. Yeah. Like a scene comes to mind. Like I remember and it happened so many times, but the one that I remember is like we were watching the Prince of Egypt with my wife. Like she was my girlfriend, and like it was 6 years ago, and it's this cartoon movie. You know it?
I've never seen it. No.
Yeah. So it's like the story of Moses, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm low with the precision, the precise details today, but and I remember when the movie finished, I was I was not in tears. I was like sobbing, you know. I was like just crying. And it's so beautiful you asked me, because this opportunity is allowing me to say stuff that I find sometimes challenging. And I'm gonna share something with you that can get me in trouble. But anyway, I'm gonna share it. I'm gonna give context, but I'm gonna share it. It's dangerous though, but I'm gonna share it. Or let's see. I think I'm gonna share it. But anyway, yeah, like one of my fears also is like somebody like very malicious to take a, like a cut the like this, to cancel me by like taking a clip where I'm gonna say something that and show it completely out of context, I it's some fears that I still need to feel fully, and maybe today's an opportunity for that. I don't know. Okay. So I was really crying because of feeling like, man, I am meant to serve spiritually. I am meant to serve spiritually, and it's so meaningful for me. Like one of my pillars of my brand is the awakening of humanity. It took me so long to position myself as that. Like I'm helping through my business to awaken humanity. I can say it. And it's basically, again, just feel my shit and extend the feeling of shit to other people to feel their shit. So like I'm just saying it that way. So awakening humanity feels so epic and so like, like I'm a messiah, I'm gonna help. No, it's like just share your adventure, live your life, feel your shit, and inspire somebody to feel their shit. And it's like that kind of decentralized, exponential, silent awakening, But to your question, like why would I feel so emotionally touched and like feel it's part of my mission, And like I'm gonna tell you something else, and this is the dangerous stuff. When I was in the process of meeting my now wife, I decided to just be fully myself, right? And that in the context of dating, it was I'm just gonna share my truth and see what happens. I'm tired of playing a part to get the girl, whatever. No, I'm ready for a relationship. I was healing already. It's like, let's be honest. Let's see what happens. And I met her around that time and two other girls. The two other girls were very interested in me, but then I shared like I went to spiritual eco village for a month. I shared about presence, and they like I could see how they were like into me. And while drinking something, it turned into, oh fuck, he's a weirdo, like, and like, okay, fair enough. But then when I met my then girl, I mean my now wife, we were colleagues working at a restaurant, and we went as friends to a bar, and we were drinking something. And I shared this thing that I'm gonna share now, and I'm gonna give context because at least I will have the real recording to show like what I really meant. But in our call, I told her, I think I'm somewhat like Jesus. I told her that in our first unofficial date, just because it's the only way I could articulate it in that moment. And meaning like I feel I'm here to help spiritually, And then she told me, yeah, I see it. Like I can feel, she's very intuitive also. And it's like, and she's all my life. I dare to say something crazy as that.
Right.
And we are together and we have a kid, and it's beautiful. What I meant now I realize, and why I was so resistant to speak about this is like, and why I felt like, who am I to share? Who am I to say I'm like Jesus? I don't mean I'm at that level. I don't mean I'm ever gonna be at that level. But it's more like I have this calling of sharing this.
Yeah.
I don't know what to make out of it. I found it now through online business. Like just again, what I meant is I want to heal myself, feeling my stuff, and I want to share my journey. So other people heal their stuff, by feeling it. There's not anything messianic about it, not anything big about it, not anything crazy. It's just that, But that's what I meant. Thank you, man. Again, we are stepping into the arena. Like I feel in this conversation, I'm daring to say I'm a spiritual teacher, whatever that means, and to share this story. It feels. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, thank you for being bold to jump in and let that out, right? Because it can be scary. It evokes something in you, but you felt your shit and you let it out, right? And if there ever was a title for this, feel your shit. But what came up too as you were sharing it is, back to that point of just that connection. You are Jesus. I am like I'm going to put it because I don't want to context it as a he, lives in all of us, right? It is It is part of that. And once we connected to it, we can't help but want to share it. And I used to get this so twisted because I was brought up in such a religious background. It's like, you've got to share the word, and right. And now I know what it means. It's not me carrying around a Bible like with a megaphone, like walking through the streets and telling everybody about it. It's just me being connected to myself, which is being connected to it, him, her, whatever, and just talking about it. Like just talking about me, talking about my experiences. That's it. That's sharing it, right? That's being a disciple. That's spreading the word. That's spreading the good news. But it just gets so conflated because religion wants to. No, I won't get into that. So that'll be for another time.
No, come on. I'm saying I'm Jesus today. Like you can say some dangerous stuff yourself. Yeah, you don't need to. Also, I don't know how we're doing timing wise. Maybe it's wise indeed to leave it.
Yeah, I was going to say this would be a good time to kind of wrap it up. But I think to that point is you being bold enough to say that, right, allows me to be bold enough to say what I wanted to say and I just said, because it's ultimately back to us, right? And the reason I asked that question wasn't about me, but I felt it too my entire life. Like I was meant for more, and I could never figure out what more looked like and how to be more, to share more, to do more. But it is back to that. It's daring to be you. It's daring to be Eliseo to his core, and daring to connect to the Jesus in you, to connect to the God in you. And once we connect to that, that's how we change the world. We don't change the world by going out. We change the world by going in. And once we change our world internally, then the world starts to change with us. And that, I think, is the most prophetic, biblical, spiritual, whatever context, word, label you want to put on it. That's it, right? That's it. And the more people that we can influence by just simply being ourselves and showing the way, then the better humanity is going to be. That's how we raise the collective consciousness, right? And I asked that question to the audience, to my audience on X, and that was a common response, right? It starts with us, and I think that's where so many people get so stuck, me included. So I felt like I had to change the world. I had to change the world out here. But I can change the world out here by just going here, by feeling my shit.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what's the beauty of that is it's effortless. There is not a titanic effort in the sense of course, it's challenging to feel your stuff and confront it. Like that's like it's not nothing, but it's not building a ONG and no, wait, ONG, no, because that's the Spanish, like NGO. It's a non-profit organization. Yeah. Like ONG are the initials when you say the Spanish,
okay.
or going to politics or doing this massive thing. I mean, if it's in our calling to do something, we do it out of alignment. But it's not that we need to give up what inspires. Is we don't need to help the world in the way our ego tells it needs to be helped. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not like, 100%. I need to leave my music aside, I need to become a martyr, and I need to serve, I need to sacrifice myself. No, it's like your passion, your inspiration, what lights you up is your way. You don't need to sacrifice anything. Right. You just need to go deeper into who you are. And then it's like, you don't need to do anything for the other people it's their responsibility to take responsibility. You're just like waking up in public.
Sorry,
bless you. No problem. You're just waking up in public, and that's gonna inspire the people it's meant to inspire.
Yeah.
But we can do it while being in our houses, making money through our online business, having the good life, making music, creating apps, or whatever project you want to create. It's like, it's it's like the biggest thing, but at the same time it requires nothing but just going inside, which you said many times over. So
yeah.
yeah.
I think like the phrase, and it may be a cliche that I picked up from somewhere, but it comes up, so I feel like I need to share it. If it's in you, it's for you. And I think that's so tricky as well, because again, you attach the ego to it, and it's in such a different way. But once you detach from the ego and connect to that love, that source, why it's in you, it's for you because it's from the source. And it's part of your story. It's part of how you influence yourself in the world, and not in a manipulative, like power struggle, whatever kind of way, but no, just the way that it's whatever is in you is part of you. It's there for you. It's there to be felt and to be shared. And it just, when it's done from love instead of fear, then that's how it changes things. That's how it changes the world.
Yeah.
I feel like we could keep going, right?
Yeah,
I feel like
yeah.
we've really tapped into something, but I think it might be best to cut it off because we're right at it. We're a little bit over an hour.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, man. Yeah, I also love this conversation today, because I find like the previous two that we had, like there was some trying, there was some performance on my side, not out of being performative per se, but just these programs and my fears and like trying to get it right. There was still some of that, and somehow today that it was not there at all, or at least like if there was like a 3% or something like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, it just felt right, and we share some stuff, and it's deeply inspiring, and yeah, thank you.
Yeah, you as well, man. It's fun to do this, and I think each iteration is just going to continue to evolve, and you and I get more comfortable, not from a place of, again, performance, but just from a place of just, we want this to flow. We don't want to script it. We don't want to put anything on it other than what comes up, because I think that's the beauty and the magic in how we want to show up and this of what we're doing. But it's just, yeah, it's practice, right? And then I shared this yesterday with my client of just when we've made that decision to change and we want to change, we want it, right? But it took decades of practice to get to that rock bottom point, that breaking point, whatever you want to call it. So we said, we think because we change, we want things to just suddenly get better, but it is that practice. It is that consistency. And it doesn't mean you have to do it every day or you have to be like so disciplined about it. It's just like what you do daily strengthens. We're doing this weekly, and each iteration is going to continue to, build on itself. And not that it needs to get better or get more views or get more likes or any of that. It's just going to continue to evolve because we just keep getting more comfortable having this conversation. And that to me is the power and the beauty in what we're doing.
I feel you, man. Yeah. Okay. Thank you guys for watching today. Yeah. Feel your shit,
Yeah, feel your shit, and we'll catch you next time.